Hola, fellow humans! I hope you're doing super duper well wherever you are right now. I'm Jane. I am the spiritual guide here in this now that you are listening to. So thanks for checking this out. Like thank you ahead of time. Um, I was called to hop on here. I'm not exactly sure what and why. So, we're gonna go with it. We're heading into the equinox, the autumnal equinox. And what's really coming forth is it's not just about balance, although it's a time that's symbolic of balance between the light and the dark. And I think that's kind of what I want to drop in with. So, some of the messages that I've been receiving and tapping into um, when we are in this space of finding equanimity in the balance between the light and the dark, we become acutely aware of both of those spaces, right? We are becoming more aware of the potential light that we are, right? We are that, but we don't make it manifest until we realize it. And then we can start to choose it, and then we start to live it and feel the embodiment of it. On the other side of that is becoming acutely aware of the darkness, of the shadows, not just within the self, but within the community and the collective and as the whole experience. So as we come into this time of finding balance, we can only find balance if we're willing to stop and take a good fucking look at both sides of the light and the dark. They're not good and bad at all. What we've been taught, though, is very different. We've been taught that the light is good and right, and that is what we need to be, and that the dark is bad, it's messy, it's wrong. That's not truth. It's all fucking energy. There is no charge to that, right? We give it a charge when we create a story around it. And that story becomes a belief, and that's the limitations that we live in. Coming into full awareness of balance and maybe how imbalanced things might be for you, the community, the world, whatevs, meaning just more heavily weighted on one side or another, depending on what regions you're looking at, right? Whether it's the region of your own body, the region of your spirit, the region of your mind, the region of your household, the region of your community, of your job, of the system, like whatever it is that the entity is that we're looking at. I feel that what's coming into the collective's awareness is that the awareness of the light and the dark. It's not until we can fully see both the light and the dark, again, that we can choose to live in this balanced state in the center, most point, the heart. Look at that. Ding dong, bing bong. So as we're moving into this heart space, um, what I'm seeing happen for this coming weekend, and I'm so very curious if this is like what actually ends up happening, is more humans are going to become more aware of the darkness, of the shadow in this, not like the feminine dark and the masculine light, but more like the 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 density, the heaviness, the shadow, the egoic aspect that's unhealthy, the toxic parts of us, the sludge, the gunk, that. I feel like we're moving into a timeline really quickly where we're going to start to see the depths of the darkness, the depths of the shadow, again, within us and beyond. So that means if it's within, it's going to look like, oh shit, I still have, or I have, or I'm holding and harboring a lot of anger, resentment, rage, judgment, guilt, shame, embarrassment. That's what those look like. When those are uh, expressed out, when they're presented, when those unhealed places are presented, they look like control. They look like manipulation. They look like fear. They look like projection. They look like lashing out. They look like attack. They look like abuse. They look like victimization. They look like lack consciousness. Like, oh, it looks like stagnation. It looks unhealthy. It looks like it's missing vibrancy. It looks just dull. It looks ugly, con- uh, contorted, um, just fucked up. Basically, looks fucked up. If we don't see that stuff that's fucked up, there's literally no way to balance and come into harmony. We can't. It's impossible. So what I see happening coming up, not just this weekend, but beyond, but apparently I just keep seeing a big wave happening this weekend. Whatevs. Um, where a lot of things are going to come into the realization like, oh shit, that's really dark outside of myself, right? People might start to see the depths of the matrix or the systems that are controlling, or how they've actually been manipulated, how the food system's manipulated, how the education system's manipulated to basically just condition little humans that we call children into being robots, parrots, or prisoners. That's literally what they're grooming them for. You know, when people start to recognize the depths and disgustingness of that, that's the only way that we can bring forth change. If I keep ignoring it, I'll keep perpetuating it. No matter how much I look over here at the light and live in the light, and I'm only going to focus on this and I'm going to make my own thing. We actually need to acknowledge that. And many people have turned such a blind eye, have put their head in the sand for so long, that when they actually see that shit, it might be a little startling, might create some cognitive dissonance where people just completely ignore that shit and put their head back in the sand. You do you. Whatevs. No judgment. And coming into this time of balance means we gotta fucking look at the scales, right? Well, okay, this one's real heavy on that control and manipulation. You know, like that. It's also, I feel, a time where we really recognize the beauty and the brilliance of the light that the I am is. That the I am is in and as me, as you, as everything. That when we recognize this potential of expression, this potential to be in joy and liberated love and in pleasure and in peace and in harmony, wow, what an inspiring feeling for the heart space when we really recognize that we're nothing but a bunch of elements from the periodic table, all vibrating and clustered together in form that we call the bits and pieces that unify together, that create you, in which you call by your name. The magic and majesty of that recognition and remembrance is so powerful and so potent. We can't fully live in that light space until and unless we actually see and honor the darkness and the shadow. We can live in that light space. We're of service to humanity if we recognize the shadow. If I'm in this light space and I'm recognizing the shadow, and I'm grateful that I used to be controlling. I'm so fucking honored that I got to be abused because, one, I learned how to take a punch and be strangled and all that shit. And I also really understand that the persons that were doing these things to me were some really harmed and traumatized children that never healed, and they couldn't deal with all of their pain and trauma, so they projected onto a human. Then I love that. I love the me that was just a survivor, that's a thriver, that can fucking grow and be resilient. And yes, like, wow, I'm so grateful that I can use anger now as this sacred rage, and I can transmute it as inspiration to what I'm gonna fucking create, and not just be eaten up alive by the anger that I feel at the system itself. So that way I'm living in this light space and almost like diving into this dark space and like eating it up, gobble, 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 gobble. And I'm transmuting it. There's this transmutation. Notice the center point is the heart, because that's where we're made to live from. We're not made to just live as the light beings. We're made to live in density and in dirty and messy and just juiciness of life. Otherwise, we wouldn't have come into fucking form, right? We would be like, I'm just in the nebulous, I'm a little bit of stardust floating around. That's great and fine and all. But let's be honest, y'all, we'd be really fucking bored. Well, right? So, anyway, that's what I feel is we're at this point. We're at this like cosmic tipping point where there's this like recognition of the ooh, I have so much potential. I am so love. I am love. Oh God, I am so love. I am a drop in the ocean. I am the whole ocean by default. Yes, I am. And at the same time that people realize that, which is literally what they refer to as like being moved by the Holy Spirit, or whatever they call it, something about the Holy Spirit, I don't know, being filled with the by the grace of God, if that word resonates. I think those are words that people use. But it's literally the deep remembrance of what and who you are, and at the same time being able to be like, wow, yeah, and I'm here to be messy and to learn and to grow and expand. I feel that we're at that space where collectively people are going to really realize the oh shit, look what I am, and oh shit, look who I have been. And in that space, we can make a choice. That's the tipping point, right? We reach critical mass. Well, then what? Well, then we tip in a direction. There are more people on this planet holding a higher frequency light than ever before. Ever. The population is greater, so by default, there are more humans holding more light on this earth plane. We are told in the media and the propaganda, however, that it is just dark and dismal and people are fighting all over the place and the world is a big shit show and it's a big shit hole. It's a show, all right. It is definitely a show. It's a fucking program. It's all it is. It's just a matrix of energy that's being moved around by data points. So we can have this now moment, in every now moment that we remember this just fucking now, that we can align back, remember who we are, what we are, and that we are that as well. We are that we want to be, and we are that we have been, and we can only be who we are in this now. And what am I choosing in this now? Am I choosing peace? Am I choosing harmony? Am I choosing equanimity? What is my choice? Am I choosing pleasure or pain? It can feel exactly the fucking same. Am I choosing joy or anger? Can I have joy that I'm feeling anger? That's the unifying of both of these aspects. That I can laugh at myself that I'm feeling angry again, that I saw this person cut me off or whatever. I had a person cut me off this morning, so big, like slowly pulled out, and I thought they were going to even stop but they just went ahead and pulled out, and I had to slam on the brakes and things went flying. And I was like, wow, you get a horn honk. And me going, I also saw something that I thought was really just, it was very potent for my eyes. I just want to share these things that fed the inspiration for what's coming through right now. So I've been working with a few nonprofits, and one of them serves the underserved and marginalized community here, um, and those who are on their path of recovery. And there was a gentleman that used to come into the classes that I would have quite frequently. Very pleasant, very kind. Uh, I will presume that he had a lot of trauma in his life. And I saw it, and so I haven't seen him since probably the early part of 2020, if not late 2019. And I saw him today on the street, and he didn't look so well. Yeah, he didn't look so well. Um, it looked like his mental capacity had shifted to be present in the reality that we would call this now. He was beyond disheveled. He probably, if others saw him without knowing him, would probably be afraid of him and would probably ignore him and probably hide, like go away from him. And it touches my heart a lot, actually, because I don't like to see that. I like to see people like feeling really good and healthy and abundant and loved and seen. And he just looked like someone that people would literally turn away from because they would probably feel uncomfortable seeing him. Yeah. Because by our messaging in the system, he would be labeled as like crazy. He would never really be labeled as someone that could use a lot more love and compassion and listening. And that's, I'm hoping, the reality that we grow into. And after I saw him, then I saw a squirrel in the road. Check this out. So I saw a squirrel in the road, and I was like, hey, little buddy. It was like way up ahead. And it looked like it was like there was something on the road that it was near, and I thought it was like a small pizza box or something. I was way down the street. And so I come up, I'm driving, and I saw that the squirrel was just sitting in the road. And when I got up to it, I noticed that it was sitting at a little dead squirrel. What? It was like, how fucked up is that? Like, that there was this little dead squirrel that got hit by probably a car or a giant bicycle, and his little squirrel buddy was sitting next to him. Y'all, that was the sweetest thing I've ever seen. And then I drove up, and the squirrel like ran off into the yard because that's what squirrels do when cars come. Usually, unless they get fucking hit. And the little squirrel buddies go sit next to him. And in my head, the little squirrel was crying and saying, buddy, get up, there's a car coming. And this buddy didn't get up. That was what was happening in my head. It's probably not even close to being a reality, but in my head it was, so, it's real. So anyway, these experiences have happened today, and I'm such a snotter when I cry. It's so good. I don't have any Kleenex in here, so of course. Anyway, that was gross. You're welcome. Anyway, I got these experiences today, and just like this compassion and this seeing the balance of like life and death, and watching this human that I used to know that was not in their most thriving times, watching them going downhill in this thing called life, and allowing myself to feel the weight of the sadness and the weight of compassion. Compassion feels heavy to me, and not in a bad way. It just feels like a heavy love. Um, Feeling the weight of the system and the neglect of this human. Just seeing that, and I see it a lot because of the communities that I work with, and it just sucks. So seeing that, and also seeing like little squirrel running off, and had really beautiful experiences where I went to stores today in different places and people were just like so receptive and they were like, I love your energy. And I'm like, gee, and all these things. And so, like, literally living in both realms where it's like so much light, so much love, so much joy, so much acknowledgement, being seen, being heard, making eye contact, and like connecting with humans. Whether they live in a fucking nice home or they don't have a home and they're walking down the street, but like fucking human and so much love. And at the same time, holy fuck, the system is so dark and so heavy and so not nice. These are some of the realities. So, all that to say, what I feel is going to be coming in big time for this weekend is where we start to really see multiple expressions of what we would call light and dark, of so much good and love and joy, and also so much pain and suffering in the mental and the physical and emotional realms, and seeing it all at once, and being able to be this beautiful sacred witness to all of it, while coming back to the centermost point, the heart, the love, the presence of the now, the gift that the now brings, that we get to experience and witness hopefully great beautiful things and shifts. And we also are going to be witnessing some fucked up shit, because we have to see the fucked up shit before we can like grow out of it. Like, we have to do that. So, what I'm seeing for this coming weekend is an influx of awareness. Like, big, like, what? Third eye, see the fucking truth. Oh shit. That's what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing it needing to either drop us down to the heart so that we can like walk along from that space, or it's going to cause mind fuck. People literally not being able to handle what they're actually seeing. So I just want to share this so that we can give ourselves a lot of grace for wherever we are, whatever it is that we're going to be seeing, and letting it be felt in the body. Be like for me, like, that fucking squirrel buddy, and then my friend that is not doing so well. And to also allow myself to feel so much joy that I've had some of the beautiful connections also that I've had today, and just revel in all of it. Just revel in it. Roll around in it, cry in it, laugh in it, scream in it, dance in it, create in it, cry in it some more, love in it as much as you can, cry in it, love in it, play in it, dance in it, cry in it, love in it, hate it, love it, doesn't matter. But the invitation is to be with it and allow whatever it is that we're experiencing to be felt through the body with a lot of grace and compassion. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to share. I feel complete. um, I have a lot of things coming up, so many beautiful things, community gatherings, festivals, pop-up ecstatic dance gatherings, retreats, weekend immersions, online courses. I have a lot of stuff happening, so you can always go to my website at janetheguide.com to integrate, to clear, to heal, to embody this new fucking reality of energy that we are being filled with. It's like, oh, like if I realize that I'm all this light, well then how do I fucking just be in that? Like how do I go to Target? How do I deal with my husband? How do I work my business if I just fucking realize that I am the holiest of the holy and we all are? Or how do we fucking deal with all this dark shadow shit? Because there's a lot of fucking shadow shit. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to guide the path. I'm not here to lead and tell you what to do. I'm here to shine a light on all of it, bring you back to your heart so that you can live your happiest, most fulfilling, abundant life, for the liberation and joy for all beings here on earth. So if that's something that resonates with you, then go to my website, send me an email, be like, hey, I'd like to have a session with you. Or come to any of the events that I do or am a part of. I would like that. More fun, the more the merrier. So yeah, enjoy this equinox. Enjoy the speeding up of time. Enjoy the starting of the darker days, as maybe we've all been feeling, but The days are getting, the light day, the lightness is getting shorter and the darkness is increasing. The element of air and space is coming in, giving us more creative space in our minds for ideas and inspiration, connecting us to the spirit realm with more ease as the veil gets more thin in these times. That's why Halloween is such a big deal. So I'm gonna go blow my nose and just wish everybody well and balance and harmony in whatever ways that looks like. Thanks for holding space while I just shared stories that made me cry and snot. And just remember how loved you are, y'all. Like, just remember how loved you are. And that you're here, we're here during the most epic shift in humanity and consciousness ever. And we've never done this before. So the invitation is always go back to the heart. Literally, it's the centermost point. It cannot lead you astray. Promise. So, anyway, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Enjoy the equinox. Enjoy your now. And know how loved you are, please. Just know how loved you are. Always, no matter what. So, I love you. And I will see you all on another now. Bye, y'all.